Hello and welcome to the Urban Angel Rick Paul Spiritual Medium and Psychic page. I'm doing another recording of another chapter from my book, Graceful Thoughts. This chapter is called The New World Order. Part reference to the New World Order in the old WCW wrestling era. And also any comment that I make about Ian is the wonderful Ian Timothy that I've mentioned in previous videos and broadcasts, because if it wasn't for him, this book would have never came into play. The article's theme is restructuring life and bringing in the new and throwing out the old. It also touches on how to utilize downtime effectively. Influences for this piece are two hobbies, wrestling and stand-up comedy. How will I make an article from these two unlikely bedfellows? Prepare yourself for some eclectic thinking, and I'll take you on a bit of a journey. The New World Order Organization, or NWO Group, were collections of wrestlers that came together because wrestling bosses served up a boring, mediocre product, full of old ideas, rehashed and represented as new and innovative. The New World Order came into being, challenging a wrestling world dominated by one company. The New World Order came in with an attitude, a fresh approach, and totally changed the wrestling landscape for 2 or 3 years. Ian and I enjoy interesting discussions. We spoke of a method of taking a word and throwing it out into the universe, then sense whatever vibration or energy came back from the meditation. Then give it an airing and either write or record words about meditation arisings. Using this way of working has influenced my writing style. Spirit one morning woke me and gave me the words New World Order. I was puzzled, and although I trust this style of working, it was still a bit strange. This article was written from that. Another long-term hobby is studying and observing stand-up comedy. It has fascinated me how people can take a word or two and an occurrence and weave it into a humorous tale. One man who for me epitomized this was Bob Monkhouse. He was brilliant at taking a few words and turning it into a monologue, thrilling audiences with his storytelling. He made relevant points for consideration. His style of working is also an influence on this piece. Bob and I have something in common. Our writing and thinking are flexible. I mention this because rigidity will not allow compromise or help in making changes or alterations. Blinkered thinking without an ability to compromise will inevitably lead you down a narrow corridor with little room for maneuver. What does the New World Order mean? Well, let's look further. The key to any journey is the preparation made before a single footstep is taken. To make life changes, you should be willing to put yourself center stage and scrutinize your thoughts, deeds and actions. If you can be flexible with your mindset, you're ready to start that journey. I'm prompting you to analyze thought patterns and notice if your attitude changes after self-contemplation. Be honest with yourself, take responsibility, and decide to implement change when there is a need. How can we bring about a new world order and make it relevant in our environment? As already noticed, look at your patterns. Are you like wrestling before the NWO brand? Are you turning out a tried and tested product because that is what you have always done? Is there a monotonous quality about it? Do you know or feel something is missing, but either fear or familiarity stops you from making changes? Do you start with lots of energy and enthusiasm for projects which soon become without enthusiasm? How do you know when it's time to make changes? The key to this is learning to recognize energy levels. How much life force do you have? How much enthusiasm for completing the daily tasks of life? The NWO organization recognized the old product was stale and needed refreshing. It needed innovation and new ways of thinking about something that had been performed thousands of times before. NWO organization decided that changes needed making and came in with an attitude of ride with us or not. Either way, change is coming. Now let's come to the crux of this. Let's start the journey. Let's create an action plan and a flow chart, simple in construction and a good reference point. Start by asking basic questions. Consider your life experiences and the environment. do not judge yourself harshly on these observations. Ask if you're happy with life, and if the answer is yes, then there is no need to change. Carry on doing what you're doing and make minor tweaks when necessary. If the answer is no, then consider what is your truth. How would you define happiness? And how would you know if you were indeed surrounded by happiness? Objective thinking is needed, because if we can identify what happiness is, we can start putting in the foundations to change the pathway. My thought is you have to want to change the landscape before it can be adapted. Look carefully at your environment. Is it conducive to bringing out the best in you? If yes, answer, then you are doing a good job. If no, then changes are required. Remember, it is usually at the beginning of the change that we will encounter hurdles or even full stop roadblocks. A furtive mind will conjure up all sorts of reasons or excuses why an NWO cannot be achieved. For example, lack of money, no confidence, the other people won't like it syndrome. One big excuse, I don't have the time. I'm too busy, and I'll counter. You want me to believe you are willing to prioritize time focused on other things that you don't want in your life. You prefer to waste activity rather than use beneficial effort into building a new life. The answer is for you to choose. If your choice is to stagnate and waste your time and effort, now let's assume you're not happy to progress and advance your life, and the article ends here. If the thought is towards making a positive and beneficial change, how do we make them work? To my mind, the status quo needs changing and challenging. It is essential to think long and hard about yourself. A journey of reflection is essential. Without an understanding of how you live, you will never know why you live in your way. And unless there is an acceptance, not of your assets, but your failings, the way to change cannot happen. Let's recap. There's a need for change. The energy to complete the task is there. The willingness to change the status quo or challenge it is there. And for a time, the need is to work to eradicate feelings of inadequacies and lack of confidence. Think carefully that the new way of life or the new world order will take time to achieve. And your positive changes may not be consciously recognized, but stay positive and work with care in the future. Focus on every aspect of positivity in your life. Allow the ability to reflect on failure and setback as a positive. A hurdle is encountered. So to say, I am fueling change. I am putting down the foundations for new pathways to happiness. I have identified where I want to be and where I want to go. And there needs to be no specific timeline when my NWO will become manifested. You'll not beat the old adages. Rome wasn't built in a day, and forward is forward, no matter how small the steps. And you will gain momentum. Real-life situations and life's events sometimes have a habit of throwing you a curveball. This is when the flexibility of your mindset is needed the most. Don't get locked into turning out a stale product. If it doesn't accurately reflect the true self, think carefully about what is right for you. Speak your truth by writing your action plan. Take corrective action to achieve the desired results. Engrave this truth to the walls of your soul. Change is possible when I believe in myself, my objectives, my desires, and my life. Some of you will take solace from the ideas, others will disagree. A majority of skeptics will rule out and say, easier said than done. To all of you, I ask, what role are you playing in the costume you have made from your deeds and thoughts? Your eyes are reading these words now, and your body will live this life just once. Sure, there may have to be some hasty rewrites of scenes of the play of life. There will be many alternative routes to travel, and even those will encounter detours. Life can be very twisted. But consider the accepted truth. Life is many act play, and the curtains fall only once. There will be no encore. Humankind will always show true colours, or what they are made of, during difficult times. Issues and full stops will need to be encountered. However, if we look, we'll discover positives in even the smallest of problems, although one has to train the mind to see the positive. Seeing the negative is easy and damages the potential to succeed. Don't wait until you're isolated or locked in before you make positive changes. Begin today. You've earned the opportunity to change just by standing on the stage of life. Be sure you are good enough for any situation. Put yourself at the forefront of your desires. Visualize how your new world order should look. Remind the doubters changes are here and they can ride alongside or get out of the way. Enjoy the journey and plan wisely. And always remember, in the times of doubt, the guy in the noisy waistcoat has you in his thoughts and prayers. Thanks again, guys, for sticking with me on this one. It's all about flexibility of mindset. When this was written, it's just to say I take collective influences in any of my writings, in any of my deliveries. And I've said this consistently throughout my time that I've been on this YouTube channel now, that life is live and we take feedback about life in any given moment. So don't get bogged down or stuck into giving out a stale product or a diluted version of you. Live in this now moment. Make changes where they're appropriate. Look at how you make your decision-making processes. Are you happy with your life as you've got it? Do you need support or guidance from somebody who's a like-minded person? Be very careful who you go and seek this advice and guidance off. Are they trying to get you on the same vibrational frequency as they are? Because remember, like attracts like. So if you've got somebody who's got a fairly sort of gloomy outlook on things and you go to them with positivity, they will eventually bring you down to that level. So always seek out people who know slightly better or have got that more uplifting way about them. Change is possible, but you've got to believe that A, that you want that change, and B, that you've got the tools and the equipment to make those changes happen. As usual, with all of my broadcasts, it's just planting that seed, a little bit of desire to inspire. And I close out this one by saying that you can buy my book, Graceful Thoughts, from me direct, and I will post it out to you for the princely sum of £5. In fact, we will put the little thing up here if we can find it there, and that can be bought directly from me. International people, and I've had a few inquiries just recently, I would suggest that you can also buy this on Kindle, and I believe, if I remember rightly, it's priced at £4.50. So thank you very much once again, guys, for listening, and I hope to see you on another production, another video. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Bye.